such sights to show you.
Hello, friends, and David. Welcome to another episode of Daymares podcast with your third favourite, Axel Spencer, and your seventh favourite, Adam, in
Adam Lewis. Like, who are the two other Axels? I'm not bothered about. There's a
Axl
million.
Rose,
Oh, okay.
and I mean, only other Axel I know is Axel Smith, but he's a bit of a perv.
I thought you were going to say he's a bit of a paedophile then, and I was thinking, why are you third then? Are you worse than a paedophile?
I've done more horrible things. But yes, welcome to everyone. We are on the cusp of yet another episode, which will be our last episode of the year, because it's a busy time before Christmas, and if people don't do their work, they'll be on the naughty list, because capitalism. And we will be talking about is it New Zealand or Australian film?
Australian.
I
feel like if you were to call like an Australian person from New Zealand, they would fight you.
Yeah, they go, what are you fucking saying, you fucking geek? You fucking...
That was Axel, not Adam. Let me be clear on that.
Oh, I can do that. I've lived that. We're talking about BABADOOK by
Jennifer Kent.
What was the first name?
Jennifer,
yeah, because I was like, it's either Jennifer or Jessica, and I didn't want to say it wrong. But yes, Jennifer Kent, and it's a very kind of, in a way, very simple but very thrilling horror film from 2014. Yeah, it's quite a while ago it came out. I only saw it this year.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like it was one of those films that came out, it got a bit of buzz, and then over the years, it's gotten more buzz.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've certainly heard more people talking about it for a very good reason, which we will kind of digest as we go forward. But before then, if there are anyone who, for any reason, don't know what BABADOOK is, Adam, what is it?
Do you know, side tangent before I go into this, I watched, like, have you seen what We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah.
Have you seen the TV show?
No.
So there's a bit in a TV show where they start introducing, like, monsters and characters from other films, and there's a bit where they have the Babadook, but it's played by someone from New York.
Oh.
And there's a joke where he goes, "Hey, I'm Babading Babadook."
Oh god.
It's fucking shit, but it's brilliant. Anyway, we're not talking about What We Do in the Shadows. So the Babadook is a film about a single mum called Essie. It's not Essie, is it? Or is that the person? Is that the actor?
Yeah, that's the actor.
Okay, so I can't remember the mum's name, but it's a film about a single mum who's still grieving over the death of her father, and she is also caring for her son, who is a bit of an annoying little prick, to put it bluntly, and she is battling with this hyper-manic son and the grieving of her husband. And the Babadook, as the film goes on, is a metamorphosis of her grieving and her anger towards her son.
Did you say metamorphosis?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, is that the right word? But I thought, fuck it, I'll go with it.
Metaphor.
Yeah, metaphor.
Yeah.
I was thinking as I said it, it's like, that's not the right word, but let's carry on.
It's like, when it comes out, he's kind of like, hang on.
Like my brain was going, no, that's not right, you fucking knobhead. And then, yeah, so the clip we'll play now is where she's in bed with her son, Charlie. Is it Charlie? I can't remember the character's name. I am getting all the names wrong here. And she's in bed and she's reading about this book called The BABADOOK. So we'll play that now.
If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the BABADOOK. If you're a really clever one and you know what it is to see, then you can make friends with a special one, a friend of you and me. His name is Mr. Babadook, and this is his book. A rumbling sound, then 3 sharp knocks. Ba-ba-ba-dook, dook, dook. That's when you'll know he's around. You'll see him if you look.
Ba-ba-ba-dook, dook, dook.
We might read another one tonight, eh?
But you said I could choose.
This is what he wears on top. He's funny, don't you think? See him in your room at night?
Mum, does it hurt the boy? Mum, does it live under the bed? Mum? Mummy!
I mean, there's just, unbelievable. Words can't describe.
I feel like it's the only clip you can play where it gives away some context towards the film, because if you play any other clip for this film, it's this atmospheric noises and people going, oh no!
Yeah. I mean, that's very much what this film is. It's very atmospheric. And it just it's a lot of the horror does kind of stem from real life issues rather than just the monster of Babadook, like the relationship between the mother and the child, and the fact that the child is so kind of loose, if that's the right term, kind of just, she can't really handle him most of the time.
I mean, let's talk about this now. That kid's a prick. Like
the actor or the
both. No, just the character. I mean, I struggled to watch this film. I think it took about 3 or 4 attempts for me to actually get past the first 15 minutes, because that kid, like, that kid's the best form of contraception. Like, you show that to people who were wanting a child, and they will go, nah, actually, we're all right now. We don't want a kid.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like you said, he is very kind of like, what's the word you used? Manic?
Hypermanic.
Hypermanic. Yeah. And that kind of like pretty much drives home the idea, like, this single mother is really struggling to raise the kid, who everybody else is like constantly saying like it's difficult and it's like out of control, and it's just, as a parent, probably like one of the worst things you can really go through.
Yeah, it's probably not exactly the best thing to be going through when you're grieving as well, but still.
Well,
like...
she shouldn't be grieving anymore. Her husband died like 6 years ago.
You just get over it now. Come on,
get over it. Get a new hobby.
But yeah, I mean, I like I said, I took about. I think it was, yes, the kid's annoying, but also his accent.
Yeah, I think that you brought up before that you don't really like his voice.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had to power through that film because of that voice.
Yeah,
and I'm glad.
like,
I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have that issue myself. Like, I do get where you're coming from, but I didn't really pay that much attention to it.
Like,
I just
literally, the first time I watched it, the moment he opened his mouth, I literally pressed pause and went, nah, and turned it off. It's like, nah, I'm not sitting through 2 hours of this. Are you mad?
Yeah. I just felt like anxious most of the time the kid is on the screen. It's just the most restless character. And his mother, named Amelia, is just kind of just repressing all her suffering through all that, what's happening. It's just kind of...
And she's taken all the anger out on her kid.
Well, like, yeah, it bursts out at times, but like she tries to really hold back all that and repress it, and that's kind of like when Babadook manifests as the monster, and she really, let's say, starts to lash out.
It's interesting you say monster. Have you seen the short film she made?
No.
No.
Are you surprised?
It's called Monster. It's 10 minutes. It's on YouTube, and you can pretty much see how she's translated that short film to this film, because a lot of like the main beats are there. The ending is not too dissimilar to what she's to either of them. The monster itself, the Babadook, is slightly different. Because like I was watching it earlier on, and my first thought was like, he looks like the guy out of *Malignant*. That's what, yeah, that's what it reminded me of. But it's 10 minutes long. All the emotional stuff isn't in there, so it's obviously not going to be as good. But there's still something there where you can go, right, okay. If you expand on this, there's something there.
Yeah. And it's like, the interesting thing is like Monster came out in 2005 and Babadook in 2014. Like, that's a decade. She like, I believe she said like she just kept coming back to it. Like, there was something there. She wanted to unravel more.
She was an actress as well, Jennifer Kent. So I feel like it was something that she had some like a main source of income, and then in between acting jobs, she's probably just working on that script.
Yeah. And what a fine script it turned out to be. And you know, I had a thought about Monster, but I kind of lost it. Oh, the character of Babadook is apparently based on something in a Mario Bava film from like 1960s.
Well, I'm trying to think, because I know she's like well versed into like horror films, because I can remember like listening to an interview where she was saying all of her like influences were like David Lynch, Cronenberg. There's a French guy whose name I'm forgetting now, and I think you can see that in her films, because there are a lot of moments where you can kind of see there's like a bit of silent era German film in there.
I mean, the whole like Babadook is kind of that, and there's like actually a scene on television which is very kind of just a movie, of kind of like German like 19
Impressionist.
Impressionist kind of like film, and that's where like we see Babadook as well, and it just kind of fits that world. And it is really, I think, one of the best monster designs since, like, I don't know, Freddy Krueger or Hellraiser. Let's say, yeah, Pinhead from Hellraiser. I feel like it's really recognizable and it's really damn creepy.
Yeah, and it's simple as well. It's literally a guy caked in white makeup and black eye, like black, what's it called? That bit that goes around the eye, and lipstick. Yeah. And a top hat and with claws. Like, you could make that outfit quite easily.
Yeah, and I feel like most iconic kind of horror monsters are kind of simple in some ways. So, like, I think when you try to go for too much, it's just like, doesn't work. Pinhead is pretty simple. I mean, Michael Myers is as simple as you can get, pretty much.
Dracula, pretty simple. A cape, pointy ears.
Yeah. I mean, Freddy Krueger is a bit more work to it, but even then, it's kind of like...
Is it? Is it just a guy with hideously deformed skin through burns?
Finger knives, and then, like, of course, the outfit, there's, like, the striped shirt and a fedora. There's, like, a lot of kind of character to his look. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the most complicated, but...
No.
Probably from out of the ones we mentioned, is probably the most complicated. And of course, like, they are all tremendously performed, like Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, perfect, just perfect casting. Nick Castle as Michael Myers, and well, there'll be many others as well. And you know, there's a plethora of people playing Jason Voorhees. Kane Hodder, usually people's favorite. And
I was going to say, like, I don't think it's too difficult to play Mike Myers, Jason Voorhees, is it? You just put on a costume, hold a knife, and run at people.
Have you seen the other Halloween films?
I mean, yes, but I don't think anyone's watching that going, God, his performance.
I mean, the thing is, because it's so devoid of anything. Like, when John Carpenter instructed Nick Castle, or whoever played, I think there was multiple people playing the Shape in the original. His instructions were pretty much just walk towards the camera. There was never like, okay, you're sad, or you're kind of like looking for something, but you don't. Like, it's always just kind of like just.
You need to have this memory in the back of your mind as you're walking towards the camera.
You were traumatized as a kid. You were radicalized. You know, it's just kind of like walk towards the camera, and you know, raise up the knife. Swipe. That's pretty much the instructions. So like, there was no emotion or any kind of agenda to it. So it kind of was all devoid of that sort of stuff. It's just movement, which I think is pretty much the core of what makes Michael Myers so creepy.
Yeah.
And well, Babadook is very different. It's just like, there's the bit when Amelia looks over to her neighbour's window. There's the old woman sitting in the living room.
Oh God, yeah, that bit.
Yeah,
that
it's
bit's
just
horrible.
Babadook in a shadow behind her. It's really fucking creepy.
There's a bit when the first time I actually like forced myself to sit down and watch it. There's two bits in the film where they use to like bridge two scenes where it's just a tree outside, and it's like a shot at the sky, and you see the branches.
Yeah.
There's one bit. They use that bit early in the film, and it's like whatever. It's just a shot to bridge two scenes together, like just a transition shot.
Yeah.
And they use. I can't remember if it's the exact same location. Well, it's definitely the exact same location, but I can't remember if it's like the same time of day. Like I'm pretty sure both shots are at night.
Yeah.
And the second time you see it, it is like a lot more like creepy because you've had many interactions with the Babadook at that point, and because I can remember the first time I watched it, I paused it thinking he's in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like there's a bit where if you look hard enough, you can just see that little face just staring at you, and it's like, holy fuck. But you can never find it. And I think it just works so well because at that point in the film, it's created a lot of paranoia, and you are on the side of Amelia. Like you are in that state of paranoia with her.
Yeah. And
it's so well done. Like the atmosphere, the acting, the writing, just to get you to that moment where you're on side with Amelia. Yeah. It's really well done.
Absolutely. I mean, this I don't remember who it was. Some big horror director said like this, like has said, and many other people said this is really fucking terrifying film. And like probably after his House, one of the most terrifying films I've seen, you know, ever like since I was a kid. Like as an adult watching horror films. There are a lot of scenes of kind of like that looming kind of terror. It's just such a creepy image of seeing Babadook come out from a shadow. Something
Oh, yeah.
you really don't want to see at home.
I mean, the use of like stop, like well, it's not stop motion or stop animation. Well, it would be stop motion, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Because there's that bit where she's like in bed. She hears a bit of crawling at the door. It's a dog. She goes back in bed. There's more crawling. The door opens, and next thing you know, he's crawling about on the ceiling, and it's like
Yeah.
almost like an insect.
I'd imagine that was probably just CGI.
Oh no, it was all real. There's very, very little CG in this film.
Nice.
Like I think
Yeah.
the vast majority of it's practical.
Yeah, like the movement in that bit, it is very unnatural, kind of like, yeah, it's really off-putting.
Yeah, because at the moment, like you see his face for the first time, like there's a part of me, like when I first watched it, you kind of go, okay, that's a bit anticlimactic because he just looks like a person in makeup. But it is still unnerving because there is that part of you go, well, it's a person in makeup, but it makes it human,
Yeah.
and that's when he kind of goes, oh, okay, it's a bit more. I don't know, it's a bit more creepy now.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if I remember correctly, John Landis, who made a book about film monsters called Monsters, I think. I think he talks about like monster is just kind of like it's human in some form. The less it's human and it's like goes into animal, it's like more of a force of nature, which isn't really a monster. Like he wouldn't classify Jaws or Cujo as a monster, but Babadook is like, because it has the human kind of resemblance, but it's not human in any shape or form. It's like kind of the ultimate monster.
And it is very much. No, go on.
Yeah, it's just there's the familiarity of like seeing the human face, but there's just so many, like something off with it. Humans are kind of coded to read faces, facial recognition. So when there's something just off, like, you know, there's the optical illusion of having a face upside down, and you can't recognize if the mouth and eyes are upside down, as in right way up, when the face is upside down. You don't recognize it. It's that kind of like, it's just off.
Yeah. I think that's this film in general, isn't it? Like, that atmosphere is always just like, something's not right.
Yeah.
The colour palette throughout it is very austere. It's very black. It's, well, not black, but it's very, like, dour.
Got the lens cap.
It's all dour colours, isn't it? It's, like, very...
Colourless.
Yeah, there's nothing to it at times, and it's just, like, very bleak and austere.
Yeah. And it's kind of like just kind of depressing, the whole story, and like everything. It's just kind of like, it's just kind of hopeless.
A story about a woman grieving over her husband and feeling angry for her child. Depressing.
I went to the cinema with my kids to see it. I didn't expect this kind of...
And you came out of the cinema hating your kids.
Yeah. Oh, that was long before we went to the cinema.
You walked out going, you know what? She's got a point, actually.
But yeah, like this, all the other characters just kind of angry at the mother, at Amelia, because of her son and his behavior. It's just kind of like, it does like nobody understand like child psychology or something. Like maybe the kid's not all right. Like could use with some support, and there's like, your kid is such a dick.
Well, isn't there like a bit in the film where she's talking to like a school psychologist?
I think so. Yeah.
And she's like, well, obviously he's got these problems, he needs extra support, but he's being a bit violent in class.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a problem when a kid gets violent. That is an issue.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's just very hopeless, the whole situation. And you kind of like you just want wanting to what's the word?
Calm down.
Get through. What?
You want him to calm down and not speak because he's so annoying.
What about the book of the Babadook? That's like
The Book of the Babadook.
Book of the Babadook, which that actually reminds. There's a few interesting things I found out about Babadook of the name. One is that it's kind of like is the word when you rearrange the letters.
Anagram.
Anagram. It's an anagram of a bad book, which makes very much sense. And then there was like thing about what Babadook means. Oh yeah, in Hebrew, apparently Babadook means he is coming for sure.
Okay.
Which is like, why would you even have that phrase in a language? Like it's a separate kind of word. Like, what? But that is like, if that's where the name came from, it's fucking brilliant. Like I didn't even realize it'd have that kind of like linguistic meaning. I just it's a creepy name, and of course the whole knocking thing and stuff that is in the book. I thought that's
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I kind of want to know who wrote the book because it's so well thought out. I mean, again, like the short film and this film both use pop-up books, and I feel like that effect as well makes it just adds a layer of creepiness. I feel like if it was just like a standard book where it had like pictures and this, that, and the other, like your normal book for like kids and 8-year-olds, it'd have been a bit less effective. But the fact that things pop out and she's moving things around as she's reading it, it just kind of adds that whole sense of like going, she's the one. Like, I don't know if you felt this, but I know for me, it felt like the Babadook was just an extension of Amelia.
Yeah.
Like that was her anger towards her kid, towards herself, for not like properly grieving, and that's what the Babadook was. It was something that wasn't going away, and she needs to deal with.
Yeah, because she's just repressing all of the emotions, just not like you said, it's just not dealing with it. And that's like when you then repress all your emotions for so long, it all just stays within you. So it's about to have to come out sooner or later.
Perfect transition since you used the word coming out. I don't know how this happened, and I only found about it about a couple of months ago. Somehow the Babadooks turned into like a gay icon.
Yeah.
Which
apparently, from what I understood, Netflix miscategorized it as an LGBT plus film, and that's like, and the community was like, "Oh, hell yeah, let's make Babadook gay as fuck." So yeah, I from what I know, that's pretty much the
Because at first I thought it just had like some bigger meaning. So now, okay.
Oh no.
Which is quite. I don't know. That's kind of made me go, okay, is that it? Like I thought something had happened where someone went, yeah, do you know what? We're gonna make this thing gay as fuck now.
Yeah. Yeah, like there isn't really gay or queer allegory.
No.
Really comes to my mind in any shape or form. But like, we need more queer horror icons. At least ones that aren't problematic as fuck. So yeah, go for it. If there was a sequel, which I know there never will be, because Jennifer Kent owns the rights to the movie, and she said there will never ever be a sequel,
Good.
no matter how much they offer her, because it's not franchise film.
No, it can't be.
Yeah, and I fully understand and support that. It's great. But if there would ever be a sequel, I want kind of like Babadook to kind of change the clothing to a bit more flamboyant kind of.
He's got a sequin dress on.
Yeah, glittering blue.
There's just a scene of him looking in the mirror, like wiping the makeup off and putting like eyeliner on instead.
I mean, this movie would be a lot less scary if there was a scene of Babadook putting the makeup on.
He's just going, shit, she's getting ready for bed, I need to go and scare her, fuck!
Although, I think probably one of the creepiest scenes in It 2 was Bill Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise, the dancing clown, like taking off the makeup. I just love that bit for some reason.
I can't remember. It chapter 2. I thought it was crap.
I mean, I didn't say it's good. There are bits that I liked about it, but it's just, it's too fucking long. Like, pacing. Come on,
damn.
people.
I've heard there's a 7-hour cut of both films, and that shouldn't exist.
I think that's like Zack Snyder's wet dream. It's like, using all the material, yes. It's like, we don't need these scenes. They do nothing for the film. I don't care. But yeah, I think this film is actually not that long either. It's like
just over an hour and a half.
I remember it was like a little bit less than an hour and a half, but I could be wrong.
To Google, let's find out.
An
An hour and 33.
Okay, so it's
if you take away credits, it's probably just under an hour and a half.
But it is kind of nicely paced. It kind of course, starts slow because it's kind of like that kind of like tension building atmospheric film. It starts with the whole morning and the like real life stuff before the supernatural elements coming or the psychological elements coming. Well,
it's interesting you mentioned pacing. So have you watched her follow-up film, The Nightingale?
I have not been able to find it, and I really want to see it.
So I think, I don't know if it's on Finnish Netflix, but I know it's on like UK Netflix. Because I've always kind of wondered whether when people talk about pacing, whether pacing is deliberate. Because sometimes I feel like that you watch a film and it is people just going, right, okay, we need it to be in this sequence, we need it to flow like this, and that's fine, and that's it. And they never really pay attention to the pacing of the film. Because I feel like if directors really paid attention to it, films would be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And that, I think it's just over 2 hours, The Nightingale. I think it's like 2 hours 10, something like that.
Oh, right.
It's very slow. Like glacial in some places, and it's deliberately glacial. Because the first 20 minutes of that film are so brutal. Like Jennifer Kent said one of her influences for it was, I can't remember the director's name. Come and See.
No idea.
You know the film Come and See?
No.
Oh, so I'm sure we've spoken about this before. The Russian war film.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so yeah, that's it's an anti-war film, but at the same time, it's a fucking horror film. The last 15 minutes of that film are unrelentingly they're horrific. There's a bit in there where a cow gets shot, and you've got a 16-year-old kid hiding behind it, and I'm going, you watch it and you go, I don't know how you did that without actually shooting at a cow with a kid hiding behind it. It's
the Russians,
Russians, and it was filmed in the mid-70s.
Oh, yeah.
So you watch it and you kind of go, how the fuck did you do? How did you get health and safety? Again, Russian health and safety in the 70s probably didn't exist, but so yeah, I mean, the pacing in the Babadook, again, it's it feels so deliberate, which I know seems like a stupid thing, but given what I've just said, I feel like Jennifer Kent is a filmmaker who just goes, this is exactly what I want. Like, people might not like it, but this is what we're going for.
Oh, absolutely, because people don't, like, general public don't like slow films.
Oh, no.
They kind of need that adrenaline running. But, like, horror very often kind of thrives in that kind of quiet, because it gives you the room for imagination to kind of take over. And that's Babadook in the purest form of that, because you barely see Babadook in the film. It's most of the time not there.
Also, it came out in 2014. Like, that was around the time where horror started to get, like, jump scare horrors started to get a little bit more traction. That's when you had Insidious, that's when you had The Conjuring, that's when you had Annabelle. That's, like, It Follows came out that year, which maybe we'll speak about one day. But it was around that time where people weren't expecting anything intelligent. People heard of a horror film, they wanted it to be like bang, kind of horror film.
Yeah.
And then to get a film that's smart, intelligent, takes it not necessarily takes its time, but it goes at a pace it wants to go at, rather than a pace that you want it to go at.
Yeah, it kind of precedes the kind of horror renaissance of the late 2010s.
Yeah.
And of course, like, being an Australian film, they rarely get much traction. This is probably the biggest Australian horror film in years. And it's well deserved all its attention. And if you haven't seen it, we haven't really spoiled anything yet, so there's still a chance. Go see it. It's really good. And it's, if you actually like kind of scary films, you'll enjoy this one. You just need to get through the slowness and the kid that Adam hates. But if we move those more spoilery bit of the episode, it is very unusual horror film in it, because nobody dies.
Yeah.
Apart from the dog. But
no one cares about the
human
dog.
Dies.
Yeah. Even then, I mean, it's unusual in the sense that there's a bit in, like, you don't get horror films where there's a scary scene in the day, and there's a bit where there is quite a creepy and unsettling moment in the film that is shot in the day when she's in the car.
Yeah.
Babadook's on top of it and, like, screeching and scratching. So I just think, like, as a whole, like, it was unexpected, because, like, I was just saying, it came out at a time where people weren't expecting these kinds of films. Like, horror was very much going down a route where it was jump scares, here's your music cue, here's your payoff, build up to the next one, here's your big flashy ending. And this came out and went, no, smart horror films are still here, don't worry about it.
Yeah. But Babadook kind of made the daylight horror popular again before Midsummer. Just kind of went all overboard with it. In a very brilliant way, though. I'm not knocking off Midsummer.
Ari Aster's going to listen to this and think, fuck you.
Our biggest fan. Turning away.
He's always messaging us.
Yeah. Please, can you talk about Midsummer next? But yeah, that's one of the, like, the kids just having such a fit in the backseat, such a anxious scene as well. Like I talked about, there's a lot of kind of very anxiety-inducing scenes with the kid. That's probably the most. But it's kind of like turns into kind of heartwarming almost towards the end when the kid's kind of like determined to protect his mother. When she's gone like full possessed with the Babadook.
Yeah.
Complete mental breakdown. And the kid is just like wants to save her. Which I think kind of, that's when the heart of the film really comes through.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's obviously all building up to that moment where she no longer hates her child. She's
Yeah.
like,
I tried to kill you, but you wanted to protect me.
yeah,
You're not that bad after all.
like I can remember like when I watched it first, and like the ending where she's having that little party, she's going around with like I can't remember if it's like a plate of food or something, and then she goes back into the house and you see that she's got the Babadook trapped in like some cupboard. I can remember like watching that for the first time, thinking like it's a bit stupid, and then but I think as time's gone on, I kind of understand it a little bit more now, where it's just like she's like she knows that part of is there. Like she needs to keep that controlled. She needs to keep it away, and the only way to do that is to make sure she's keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, it's like you never lose your trauma. You just kind of learn to live with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very kind of. It works so well with the theme of the film. It's kind of silly if you don't get the theme, but like when
exactly,
you get it, it's, just like, it's perfect.
Because even in the in the short film, like she does something similar. Like it ends with her like leaving a glass of milk by a cupboard. You see this hand come out, grab it, and you kind of going, okay. Like in the context of the short film, it's weird and it doesn't really work because there's no. Like, it's this demon that she keeps in a cupboard, and you're going, why the fuck are you keeping a demon in your cupboard? That doesn't make any sense. But then when it's more fleshed out and more contextualised, like you can then, oh, okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down here now.
Yeah. So do you feel this film works better in feature form rather than short form?
Easily. Because in the short form, it's got like, obviously you can ask yourself the question like how long is it? Like, what's the ideal length of a short film? Because you say 25 minutes. Well, that's technically like I know Ari Aster said this in the past. When you do like a 20-minute short film, that's an episode. So, and then you do like a 3-minute short film, you go, well, what the fuck's that? That's not even a film at that point. So, but in the context of Monster, there is no context. It's just she's got this annoying kid running around. She's washing her pots. She goes to bed, and then this thing pops out of nowhere, and you kind of go, "Oh, okay." Like it's not really like it feels more of a what's it called when like when you make something to show something, like you can go, hey, here's this thing I've made. I want to expand on that. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like like a concept piece. That's what it more feels like. It feels that it was just a proof of concept.
Yeah.
Like she made something to show people, like, hey, here's what I want to do. I want to expand on this and have these themes in there.
Yeah. So it's kind of like very opposite from Lights Out.
I don't get what you mean.
That
oh, yes.
It's the worst idea ever to make that into a feature film because there's no story in it to begin with whatsoever. I know a lot of people really like it. I'm not a massive fan of Lights Out for very simple reason that I don't like concept.
You don't like Swedish people?
Oh, I fucking hate them. No, I don't like concept horror, and by concept horror, I kind of like it's not a real term. Just made it up because I'm cool. But I mean like horror films or like horror short films that don't really have a story. There's just like an idea, like in David Sandberg's films, Lights Out. There's like you turn the lights off. There's a monster. That's the thing. That's the short film. That's all it is, and it does work in that film very well. You could say.
I think it works well.
Pardon?
I think it works well, and
yeah.
I get what you're saying. Like, I feel like with many short films, they are more proof of concepts. Like, they have an idea.
Yeah, and that doesn't it doesn't have to be anything more. But there's no story, there's no characters, there's nothing. It's just that concept. It's very thin. So why the fuck?
So why
would you
give it a
make
story?
Feature film of it, like for money, I suppose. And obviously, it ended well for David Sandberg. You know, he's able to make much better films since, and mainly Shazam.
Well, he made one of the Annabelle films, didn't he? Was it Annabelle Creation?
Yeah, I haven't seen those actually.
It's not a bad film. Like, I feel like he's obviously benefited from making his own films because, well, obviously he makes his own films, but I think he's been making like YouTube short films for like 10, 15 years or something like that.
Yeah,
and you can tell like a lot of the stuff he's carried over that he's taught himself, he brings into his on production films because he's worked with like no budget films, and now he's doing Shazam, which is like $150 million film.
Yeah,
and then you kind of go, how the fuck do you go from that? But I get what you're saying. I mean, I like a lot of his short films have an idea.
Yeah,
and then at not one point do you go, huh? Let's turn that into a film. It's never been like that.
Yeah, like I completely understand people liking the like short film, feature film. Just
it's fine. Like it's
I wouldn't go that far.
like it's the best 5 out of 10 film. Like, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not gonna like the idea's there and it's okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the nicest thing I can say.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like Babadook, kind of like vice versa of that. Like, it actually really benefited from being turned into long form.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like, I feel the short film was made purely to be like, hey, one, I can make a film, and I can make it good, and secondly, to be a case of where she goes to producers and studios to be like, hey, here's something I've made. Let me expand on this.
Yeah.
Because like there is, again, if you watch the short film and it's 10, like again, just Google on YouTube Monster 2005, and it will come up with that film.
Yeah. And
you can see exactly the same plot beats as the Babadook. There's a bit where she's reading a pop-up book with her son. There's a bit where, like, stop motion bit, where the Babadook is, like, coming towards her. The ending is pretty much exactly the same. The characters are exactly the same. The environment... yeah. The environment is pretty much exactly the same. The only major difference is the character design for the Babadook. It's a lot more, like, emo-y, gothy.
It's just an emo kid. Coming to your dog going like,
I mean, it's like long greasy hair. And it's in black and white.
Oh, right.
That's the only difference. Yeah, and I feel like the black and white was purely done because you can see it's shot on film, and I feel like it was done that way because black and white film is cheaper than colour film.
Yeah. But like I can completely see it working black and white, like there was, like we talked earlier a bit in a feature film of the impressionist film being shown, and it just
even then, like I don't think you could if the Babadook was black and white, I don't think it would work. I don't like
not the long form per se, because it kind of lives off of that colorless environment.
Yeah. Like it fits the mood and it fits the tone of the entire film.
Yeah, especially when like the pop-up book is completely black and white. It's like completely devoid of color, as well as Babadook. So it kind of really emphasizes that kind of detachment from reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I feel like purely the short film was just done in black and white purely for money's sake, and you watch it and you kind of go, I don't understand why this, like, to me, there's no artistic reason for it to be in black and white.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. One peeve I did have with this film, though, and I had no problem with the kid, as I said before. That's your fight to fight. My peeve is the use of video game sound effects. There's apparently some the only one I recognized and really drew me off was this sampled sound of the Kerberos from the intro to Resident Evil 1, the original.
Oh, okay.
Kerberos being the zombie dogs. So when the Babadook growls, it makes that very same noise, which is very iconic to me, and I'm very familiar with it, so it immediately kind of takes me out of the film. It's very
That's
weird
fair enough.
kind of choice.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's fair enough. Like, I mean, I can imagine that being a moment you can go, hang on a second, this isn't Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. If Babadook just
You're
let
not
out a
Jill
Wilhelm
Valentine.
scream every time it's growled, like,
Someone needs to do that. Like, I
mean,
need to
dude,
see a clip
you've
of
done
that
clips
now.
for us before. I mean, knock yourself
I
out.
might try and do that. That sounds quite funny.
Just like long anticipation, kind of like just creeping into the room and just sound like
No, because I'm thinking of the ending when he gets dragged back in.
oh yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh man, I really hope you have time to do that. But that was like kind of drew me off. Like other than that, it's just scenes masterfully built with tension and kind of emotion. It's a very emotion-driven film. The dynamic of the mother and child is, it's brilliant. It's so tense. It's like that, there's the metaphor of like tensity in films. So you have the rubber band. Like you just want to keep like making it like tighter and tighter before it snaps. You don't want to let it snap, and that's kind of it's just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can fault it. It's just one of those films I can't fault it, but at the same time, I don't. It's one of the it's certainly in the conversation of one of the best horror films. Do I think it's amongst the top? No.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those films where you kind of go, okay, this is really good. What else can you do?
Yeah, like I most certainly want to see Nightingale because I've heard good things about it, and Jennifer Kent has proven herself to be a very skilled filmmaker.
Yeah, it's very good. Just be prepared for it to go. How long's it been on for? An hour. You're gonna go, okay.
Yeah, and like I quite like some slow horror.
Yeah, it's not a horror film. That's the thing.
All right.
Like it is and it isn't. It's a horror film in a sense where the things that go on are horrible.
Right.
But that's it.
Well, we'll see about that. As you very familiar with, I'm very, I do kind of run the flag for the very flexible definition of horror. Oh god, I'm not gonna go into that again. I mean, it's been a few episodes since I kind of ranted about that, but I'm not gonna go into it again. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to see that. Is there anything else that comes to your mind you would really want to bring out about Babadook?
Could you not hear me then?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Like I'm muting myself on Audacity, so that's weird. Give me 2 minutes because the cat's at the door.
Cool.
So like it'll literally be 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know it would affect Audacity. Okay,
All right. Wow.
can bear that in mind for the future.
Yeah. So what was the last thing you heard?
Any final thoughts?
Yeah. So Adam, any final thoughts?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. I mean, it's just a very good film.
Yeah, it's quite simple. Like, there's not much going on, and it most certainly doesn't need. It has exactly the amount of stuff it needs.
No, and I feel like, well, I know one thing we haven't talked about is the acting. I mean, the child aside, I think as Essie Davis, who plays Amelia, like.
Yeah.
Before this, she was a very good actor. After this, she's still a very good actor. And I feel like it's a role that it could have very easily been overacted.
Yeah.
And she never does that.
Mm.
And you can always, like, from the get-go, you can see that there's something there where she's kind of going, right, okay, there's something, like, you're not okay. And
Yeah.
I feel like for an actor to have that level of just building, like, you can see that her depression getting worse in the film, and I feel like a lesser skilled actor would have just gone overboard with that, and I think she did a terrific job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have to, like, personally, I would love to give points to Noah Wiseman, who plays the young kid Samuel. Like, he is 6 years old, and I think the character is annoying, but that kid, like, playing that kind of, those outbursts and everything is just brilliant, and giving that, like, emotion at the end, caring for the mother
Yeah,
who's trying to
like,
kill him.
I would love to know how they scheduled this film. Because I would have a feeling that scene where she's like running around the house with a knife is filmed. I would like to think it's filmed at the end of the shoot, where she's been like, she's just been around this annoying little twat for like 6 weeks, like not even that, probably like 3 weeks, and she's like, I just want to get rid of him.
I mean, what I do know is most of the scenes where Amelia was aggressive though as Samuel, they shot separately. Like,
Yeah,
Noah
like,
Wiseman was not in the room.
Yeah.
He was not.
I
on set.
can't imagine health and safety being not alright with that.
Yeah, and that was a decision coming from Jennifer Kent, which, you know, brilliant decision. Like, you don't want to traumatize a kid just
No.
to make a horror film. I wish all directors were like that, but, you know.
But still, I would love to know if that was done towards the end. Just like, look, just run around the house and pretend you're stabbing that kid.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't say any more. It's like that bit in The Simpsons when they're ripping off The Shining. He goes, make Homer do something. He goes, go crazy. He's like, don't mind if I do.
Oh, but on that note, how many...
What was he going to say?
How many? I mean, all I can think of is some really boring ones.
I was going to say catapults, because like the kid has a catapult, but that's a shit one, so I won't go for that one.
I mean, I was just thinking pop-up books, but that's boring as hell. How many whiny little dicks would you give this film out of 10?
Whiny little dicks.
And I want to point out once again, I quite like Noah Wiseman in this film. I just love how Adam's so riled up by the
I mean,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Like I've said enough, so I'll stop saying it now. I would give it an 8. I'd give it 8 whiny little dicks.
Yeah, you know, I think I'll go with that as well. 8.
Yeah, like again, it's all very well done, but there is that part of you where you kind of go, okay. Afterwards, like, it again, it's a very good film, but you go, okay.
Yeah. yeah, it's just like with me, it's just there's that emotional and kind of like connection they just can't explain. The film gives me just 8 out of 10, and it's a very good film. You really should watch it. It's one of the best horror films from the last decade.
Could not agree more.
So on that, I was about to say on that note again. I just said it, but like I said at the start, for the rest of the year we're kind of off with work and holidays. I take it you celebrate Christmas, but as I do,
unfortunately, yeah.
Do anyone else, happy holidays. I believe I saw a tweet of this, like, from Thanksgiving to, like, I don't remember somewhere in mid-January, there's, like, 26 different holidays from 7 different religions or something.
Jesus
So
Christ.
happy holidays, not just Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
That's too many. 26.
Yeah,
That's too many.
yeah.
Like, I think a couple of them should go, you know what, lads? We'll pop ours in, like, August or something.
Right. So which religion would you tell?
I am not going down that route.
So, yeah, we'll be off for the rest of the year, but we come back in January, early January, and we're gonna talk about our
Horror
favourite
films
horror
throughout 2021.
Yeah. So we still have a few catching up to do, but it's gonna be good.
We've pretty much got 3 weeks. 4 weeks.
Yeah. You'll be working that time, I'll be off. Yay. Yeah, we'll see you then. So enjoy your time. Remember to not stab your children over Christmas. And yeah, remember to use goggles when you use fireworks.
Is that a reference to the film? Does that happen?
No. Just need to be cautious with fireworks.
Is that what people do in Finland? They go, oh, this is a firework display, bring your goggles.
Wait, you don't use goggles? Like, no, people don't really do that, but it's, very strongly advised to use goggles.
I've never heard this before.
Really?
That's probably why my eyes are so fucked up, but I mean,
Well,
I've
my
never
Sheldon
heard.
mate's got a fireworks exploded in his hands.
I thought you were going to say his face. I'm kind of disappointed now.
Well, it was the hands
I mean,
were in
I
front of
can't-
the face. So,
I can't imagine it being nice still, but go on.
Yeah, like the hands were in front of the face, so it's not much better. But okay, we're rambling. So, good night, everyone.
Welcome to the Firework Podcast.
Yeah, where we're professionals. Good night, everyone.
Cheers,
Remember,
guys.
if the Babadook knocks, do not open the door.
Just no, open him in, just give him a hug.
I mean, yeah, he's queer. Give him a hug.
Yeah, that's fine. Just
Yeah.
hug, wipe off the makeup. That's fine.
Good night, guys.
Cheers, guys.